you. I think we waited enough. We should start. Okay. Let's just, so we should start our workshop now. Well, welcome to our first ever workshop. So like I'd already informed you, our workshop, our first ever workshop, is holding today. And well, I don't think we need to do any introduction. I think we should actually go straight to the workshop because already we spent time waiting for the rest. So without further ado, I'd like to invite our guest, the person of Mr. Israel Begunde. He's going to continue he's going to take over from here and he's going to introduce himself, what he does, and the topic of the workshop. The topic is going to be presenting to us this evening. So please, guys, please be alert, be present, be fully present, please, guys, fully present and participate in this workshop. When it's time for questions and answers, we are going to pause and all your questions are going to be answered. Thank you very much, guys. So I will make way for our guest now.
Thank you very much. I want to believe everyone can hear me.
I can hear you.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. My name is Israel Abegude. Just as the moderator has introduced, I am an SEO expert with about 5 years experience, most especially on on-page SEO, which is exactly the skill that you need to prosper as a blog post writer. And today I've been invited to take you on a journey and teach you one or two things about the basics of SEO. But before we go further, I want to say a very big thank you to the organizers of this workshop for inviting me to facilitate this particular session. I hope that at the end of the meeting, you would be happy to have spent an hour and 30 minutes with me. So I think I should not delay any longer, and we should just dive straight into what we have today. Are we good?
Yes.
Okay. I want to share my screen with you. Just a moment. So can everyone see my screen now?
Yes.
All right. Excellent.
Yeah.
So today, basically, we are going to be talking about the basic SEO skills for a writer. And I want to start by saying that almost everyone claims to be a writer, right? But there are one or two qualities that singles you out or differentiate you from other writers. And one of such is the SEO skills that you possess. Most importantly, if you identify as a writer who focuses on blog post writing or content creation for websites. So it is the SEO skills that you have that actually single you out from the crowd. So everyone can claim to be a writer, but not everybody essentially is qualified to be called an SEO writer or a blog post writer. And that is because several factors come to play when it comes to writing blog for blogs and websites. So now to the meat of the matter, what is SEO basically? Because if you must possess SEO skills, then you should have a very good understanding of what SEO is all about. So a simple definition is this. SEO is the practice of improving your website to appeal to search engine algorithms, rank higher in search engine results, attract visitors to your site, and then have more organic or unpaid traffic. So what does this definition suggest? So like I pointed out here, it suggests several jargons to cause you a headache, right? So because here you have in the definition, the keywords like search engine algorithms, search engine results, and organic or unpaid traffic. This actually implies several jargons that may bore you, but we'll try to narrow today's session down to what exactly you need to prosper as a writer. Now, but it is important for you to have a general idea of what all these jargons or what some of these jargons actually mean. For instance, when we talk about search engine, you are talking about um, engines like Google. You are talking about Yahoo. You are talking about Bing, and a host of other forms of search engine. So, and the point of writing, the whole point of writing for a particular blog or website is basically to rank, right? You want to gain visibility on this search engine such that when people search for a particular keyword, your article is presented to them, your article pops up, and they do what? They get to click on it and visit your site. And that basically means that you have actually converted a user to see what you have written and to gain value from what you have published online. So basically, when we talk about SEO, there are different forms of SEO practices, right? We have the off-page SEO, and then we have the on-page SEO. Off-page SEO basically is the technical aspect of SEO, and that involves backlinks, UI UX design, speed and performance, crawling, indexing, and just very technical stuff that you will not need or you may not need as a writer. But what concerns us more here is actually the homepage SEO, because that is where you operate as a writer. You are not operating at the back end of things, right? So what concerns us more is the homepage SEO. What actually are the practices that you engage in? What are some of the best practices that you engage in while writing for blog? There are some things that you should know. You don't just write an article, right, and say you want to publish on blog. You can have a very fine story and you put it on the blog, and when people search for keywords that are related to it, it doesn't even pop up. You don't rank at all. You check the first page, you check the second page, you check the third page, and you realize that your story is not up there. That means you have not done some things right. So basically, it is important that you follow some on-page SEO tricks and best practices so that your articles will always rank online. Now, basically, we want to learn what on-page SEO is all about. Before we go into that, I just want to confirm, am I too fast?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you. So we want to learn what on-page SEO basically is. And this is all about optimizing blog posts and website pages to improve their search rankings and visibility. And that's exactly what you should know as a blog post writer. And what are the basics that you should know when it comes to optimizing blog posts and website pages to improve on search engine? Now you want to have a very good and profound knowledge of keyword research. You also want to understand what your content, your process of content creation should look like, and also the structure optimization. So now, again, I want to emphasize on this. People write very beautiful stories. People write stories that answers questions, right? People write stories that treats a particular subject. People have different ideas, very excellent ones, beautiful ones, but the question is, can these stories actually fly in search engines? Now, again, before we dive in, it's also important for me to say one of the things that there's a new trend in town as far as SEO is concerned. SEO, as we know it to be, actually stands for search engine optimization, right? But now the new trend is search everywhere online. That tells us that something has changed. And what has changed in the past 2 years? Yeah, what has really changed? Now, we used to rely on search engines for information before, right? Know that before now, you pick your phone, you have a new information, and you want to have a fuller detail, right? You pick your phone, you go to Google, you type one or two keywords, and then you have the information, right? But today, things have changed. Even before you remember Google, you have already tapped on your Meta AI, you have gone to your ChatGPT, you have gone to all these AI assistants to seek information. Things have changed basically. So we are not just focusing on search engine results now, but we're also tapping into the AI revolution. So whatever SEO practice that you are engaging in at this point must also include AI assistance. Are you following?
Yes.
Yeah. So,
Yes, sir.
all right, thank you. So what that basically means again is that you're not just writing for Google, you're not just writing for Yahoo, you're not just writing for Bing, you're just writing for any other form of traditional search engines that you know, but you're also writing with AI assistants in mind. You want to know, okay, if I write this particular article, will AI algorithms actually find me? Will my article be recommended to all these AI assistants such as Copilot? You're talking of ChatGPT, you're talking of Meta AI, you're talking of any other AI assistants, chatbots that you know. So back to the first basics that you need to know, which is for me the most important of all on-page SEO practices that you should know. Keyword research, very important. And the question is, what exactly is the meat of the matter? Now, every writing begins with a spark, right? You don't just, an article does not just pop out of thin air, right? Something must spark. Something must be that spark, right? So, and usually it is a three or four worded phrase or clause, right? That usually spark or inspires or form the particular crux of whatever writing that you want to present. So, but the question is, should you not write with your audience in mind, right? Yes, you have the subject, you have the topic, you have the idea, very beautiful ones. You have this particular story that you want to write, but the question is, and what should be your own concern as well is, what information are users looking for exactly? That is where keyword research comes in. Say, for instance, as this pack, you have just eaten meat, or maybe this is the first time experiencing what meat tastes like, and you feel triggered to write something about meat. You don't just write to satisfy your own curiosity, right? You want to know what people are, because you're writing for an audience, and it's important for you to understand what your audience are actually looking for if you must rank. Now, that brings me to another point that I should have mentioned earlier, that all these search engines and AI chatbots assistants that you're actually writing for, or that you are trying to write for, so that they can actually identify your articles and make them rank, so that when people search for particular keywords regarding the topics that you have written on, your article pops up or it gets recommended. You should know that all of these engines, right? Talking about engines now, I'm talking about Google, I'm talking about Yahoo, I'm talking about other forms of search engines, and even AI assistants now. You should know that they have certain algorithms, right? They have been trained to read your posts. They have been trained to identify what you have written. So they want to know, even before people get to read them, they want to know, are you actually trying to satisfy the curiosity of people, right? Are you trying to put out the information that people actually need? Are you trying to meet people at the point of their intellectual need, right? Those are some of the questions that these search engines are going to ask, because there's something we call crawling, right? There's something we call crawling when it comes to SEO, meaning that all of this engine, right? They have their own spiders, right? They go on your website every second. They are there. They are trying to look for what is new. They are trying to see what is updated. They are trying to see every information that is new and that is published that can meet the need of the people in the real world, right? So all of these people, all of these crawlers are very, very, very much active when it comes to SEO. So you don't just want to write anything, right? You don't just feel the urge to write and then you publish, boom, and you expect people to find it. No, it doesn't happen like magic. There are actually processes. Now, say the topic you want to write about, you feel encouraged, you feel motivated to write something about meat, right? Then you want to ask, what are people really searching for about meat? Are people looking for disadvantages of meat? Are people looking for the health benefits of meat? Are people looking to understand how to preserve meat? Anything at all, right? You can see that we have identified how many keywords now out of the general idea. You have identified about 1, 2, 3. You have identified about 3 keywords, right? So all of these 3 are different perspectives, right, to the understanding of meat. So you can try to look for what people actually want to know about a particular topic before engaging in the process of writing. Now, after you have identified what people are actually looking for, then you want to know who are your competitors. You put the actual keyword on Google. You want to know who are those that are ranking on it already, right? And then you do some analysis. For instance, you put the disadvantages of meat on Google, right? And you want to check what websites are ranking already. Then you click on each of them, right? You want to understand what are they ranking for already? What have they written down? And then you do the analysis. Have they satisfied people's curiosity, right? You're asking these questions not as the writer, but as a user yourself, because the best way to understand the user is by being a user for a moment as a writer, right? So you want to go online and then you do the analysis. What is up there already? What are the articles ranking? Do they satisfy the user's intent, right? If no, you identify the gaps. Then you begin to think, how do you outsmart these people? By thinking of how you want to outsmart them, you are thinking of how to bridge the gap that you have identified. And then you're also looking to satisfy your searcher's curiosity and not your own. So you should understand that keyword research is a very, very important ranking factor for for SEO writing, it is a very, very important ranking factor. You cannot rank if you don't do keyword research, because people are actually searching online and they're trying to see where they can get the most accurate information. So keyword research is very, very, very important. Now, to the next one. So the question is, where do you find keywords? Of course, you must have implied from my previous, or from my explanation, that you can always find your keywords on Google, right? For me, go straight to the source, Google, right? There's a lot you can see from Google. That's where you can find all these keywords. You can also go on Blink. You can go on all of these search engines to actually understand what people are actually saying. Now you go on Google Trends or Google. You want to know what are people looking for, right? There's a particular topic. There's a particular idea. You have the spark already. Put it on Google. What are people saying about it? And this is a very good example. Now I went on Google. And then I put up the keyword Christmas in Nigeria, right? Because we're in the season, and I believe that people might actually be looking for one or two information about Christmas in Nigeria. Now, I put on the information Christmas in Nigeria, and then you want to understand, what do people really want to know about Christmas in Nigeria? Look at the people also ask section, and I pasted this screenshot so that you understand where to find your keywords and understand the searcher's intention, right, about these keywords. These are questions they are asking. These are the things they want to know about Christmas in Nigeria. Right? Now, people are asking, how do Nigerians celebrate Christmas, right? What food does Nigeria eat on Christmas? When did Christmas start in Nigeria? Is Christmas 24th, 25th? You also want to look at related keywords. Christmas in Nigeria movie. Well, people are also looking for something like this. Facts about Christmas in Nigeria. Nigerian Christmas decoration, Nigerian Christmas traditions, history of Christmas in Nigeria, Nigerian Christmas food, Christmas in Lagos, Nigerian Christmas songs. So basically, these are different information that people really want to know about Christmas. So now, say you not do something like this, right? I just have the idea, oh, this Christmas session, and people must be wanting to know about Christmas in Nigeria, and then you just begin to write, right? You begin to think about Christmas from your own experience and all of those things, and then you begin to put it down, right? Without necessarily seeking what people actually want to know. Now begin to write a post on Christmas in Nigeria and begin to talk about some other irrelevant things that people do not really want to know, right? So you want to know what exactly people are looking for, and that is why keyword research is very important. You can also find keywords, do your keyword analysis on different platforms, and that includes keywords everywhere. We have a very good example of SEMrush, Ahrefs, and Uber Suggest. These are platforms that suggest to you what people are looking for about a particular topic idea. So you can always check them out to actually have a very good understanding of what people want to know. Now, when I said that the tradition has shifted, right, from relying majorly on Google. Of course, Google, SEO writers focus more on Google, right? And that's because Google used to be the king of all search engines, right? So, but believe me, Google is a point of contact to other search engines, right? So, but because we are trying to, work with the mind that AI is around, and many people now trust AI even more than all these traditional search engines, right? They are always the first point of contact when it comes to seeking knowledge or information online, right? Because you want to ask yourself, even you right now, you want to ask yourself, when was the last time you went on Google to search for a particular information? Meta AI is your friend. You can easily find it on your WhatsApp. You don't have to go far. Many of us have all these applications on our phones, and they are basically our first point of contact when it comes to seeking or taking information online. As a matter of fact, we go to all these AI assistants first, and then we follow their recommendations, right? Now, because you want to write now with all these AI assistants in mind, you need to understand also that after all your keyword analysis, right? After all your keyword analysis, you actually want to understand the psychology of the user when it comes to interacting with AI, right? And the basic truth, or the raw truth is that we tend to ask more questions, or we try to ask a lot of questions in one question, or in one prompt, which means that people do not just prompt AI with 3, 4 keyword, with a 4 keyword, with a, how do I put it now? With a forwarded prompt. People do not just send a forwarded prompt to AI, right? People actually, try to explain a lot more deeper, right? So the length of AI prompt is actually 5 times more in length when compared to, keywords that you find on Google and stuff. So you want to bear in mind that people actually want to know a whole lot more. They want to know if this is true, then this is true. If this is true, then what is not true. So all of this, we combine all of these ideas inside one prompt and give to AI. So you want to work with that kind of knowledge as well. The next one, the content creation, right? What is the actual story of the blog post? You have done your keyword research. You've tried to identify what people are looking for online. Now you know that you cannot just write on myths, but you need to understand what people are looking for about myths that you need to find an answer to, right? So basically, the story must revolve around your researched keyword, right? And then your content type must be based on the search intent analysis. Now, you found a keyword, right? Say for instance, um, you want to talk about or you picked a particular keyword when the Christmas starts in Nigeria. You already know that you are trying to provide an information. This user basically is looking for information. So whatever article you put up must be an informational one, right? Must be an informational one. You are just providing an information, right? So this particular understanding actually describes the kind of article or content you actually create, right? Now, let's look at another example. Let's say you want to talk about something like how to preserve meat, for instance. You already know that people are seeking for a guide, right? People are seeking for a guide. And so your article will not only be presented in form of an informational article, but you're also trying to consider the fact that you are presenting them with a guide. So your article will more or less follow a how to do, right? You follow a how to do pattern of writing. Do you understand that particular concept now? So whatever keyword that you have concluded plans, right? You have concluded plans on writing on, must always determine the kind of content that you want to write. So you want to know, or you want to decide now, after you've done your keyword analysis, or your keyword research, you want to decide. Now, based on my understanding of the searcher's intent, do I present a how-to guide? Do I present a listicle? Are they looking for a review? Are they looking for a a particular form of writing that's compared to products and whatnot. So all of this will help you to answer the questions of your prospective or targeted audience best, right? So now in writing, you must understand that your writing must be very, very comprehensive, and it must be up to date. Basically, it must be up to date because every day new information emerges, right? If you stumble on new information, you must always use the newest information in your article writing because everybody wants to be updated. You cannot go and pick what operates in 2014 and say you want to match it with the reality of 2025. As a matter of fact, people are not eager to know what is happening in 2025 anymore. They are eager to know what is going to happen in 2026. So from now, many blogs will be targeting stories and issues that are likely to happen in 2026. As a matter of fact, there are some blogs and there are some niches that are already writing articles for 2026, right? Because the belief is that 2025 has ended. So that's just to tell you that people are looking for information and they want to have the current knowledge, they want to have the current idea about whatever topic or concept or idea that they are searching for online. So now you must also understand that search engines and AI assistants understand topics and search intents too. Like I said, they judge you first before your readers judge you, right? They have been programmed in such a way that, well, let me say, for the past 3 years, I've been working as a data annotator for some AI companies, and basically what I do is that I train some of these AI to understand human perspectives from different angles. I help them to understand human prompts. I help them to create a recognizable pattern, right? So that when they are on their own, they can make decisions, right? They can make decisions that actually are in line with what people are looking for. So basically, that is to tell you that there are algorithms, right? And these algorithms have been structured in such a way that search engines and AI assistants now understand topics and search intents. As a matter of fact, I cannot really say, although, well, human intelligence beats AI intelligence. But, you know, when 10, 15 heads have come together to train a particular AI assistant and develop an algorithm for it, right? It is very smart. It becomes very smart. Just know that. So all of these things, they are very, very smart and they understand. I'm trying to avoid saying that they are smarter than us, but actually the point is that they understand topics and search intent. So the the question now is how do you at least, right? How do you at least match whatever content that you have written, right, with whatever keyword that you have with you and the searcher's intent as well, right? These are very important things that you need to know, right, while writing. Now, you should understand that Google is very big on what we call HEAT. And HEAT basically means experience, expertise, authority, and trust, right? And for me, the bottom line is that you must have a very solid profile. A very solid profile. So if you are hearing me now and you don't have a very good biography, go and create a very good biography. And you understand why very soon. Now, recently, Google brought this idea of it. I think the HEAT idea was not in existence until I think 2023 or 2024. I think late 2023. So the Google every day and search engines, of course, they they update their policies and stuff every time, because at every quarter of the year, in fact, almost every month, Google releases spam updates and stuff. So that is their own way of evaluating blogs and websites to see if they are really operating operating according to their policies and regulations. Now, basically, the article, or whatever article you can put on search engines, right, must belong to either of two groups, right? It's either it is one that follows the principle of your money or your life, or the one that does not follow your money or your life principle. Meaning that there are two topics, there are two categories. Sorry, there are two categories when it comes to content writing on content writing for search engines and stuff. Now, there are two categories basically: your money or your life category, or your money or your life category. Now, topics that fall under your money or your life actually are very sensitive topics, right? They are topics that revolves around health, happiness, money, right? A lot of risks are involved, right? And Google is very particular about their searchers' comfort and all-round well-being. So they treat topics that fall under your money or your life very I don't know, but the whole point is that they are very particular about who writes content around issues that deals with life or money. Because if you lose money, you may lose your life, right? So whatever it is that can cost a searcher their happiness or money is treated as sensitive. Therefore, experts are needed in those fields. Now, topics that fall under non your money or your life category, right? Almost anybody can write it, because what you just need is a day-to-day experience, right? You just need to have a good knowledge, let's say experiential knowledge. Not really experiential, well, experiential in a way, but it is a day-to-day knowledge, right? Because for you to be an expert in a particular field, you need to have an experiential knowledge of what goes on in that environment. But in this case, a day-to-day experience is enough, right? You don't have to be an expert or an authority in that particular field to write an article that fits in that category, right? A day-to-day life experience is okay, right? For instance, you want to write on tourism now, you want to write a particular topic on tourism, right? You can just write based on your own experience. Maybe you want to write about tourist experience in the University of Ibadan. So you can write based on your own experience as a former tourist, right? You don't necessarily need to be a professional in that particular discipline to write something like that, right? But when it comes to something like maybe Forex, you are writing about economy, you are writing about maybe an health issue, Google respects the knowledge of people who are actually trained in those disciplines to handle such cases, because they believe that and that is why you see that when you go online, for instance, there's a popular blog that writes on Healthline or something of such. So you always see that whatever article that is put up there is covered by maybe nurses, doctors, pharmacists, just people that are really, specialists in those particular fields. Now, even in topics that do not necessarily require you being an expertise or gaining or having certifications in those fields, what do you need to do? to increase your chance or to have an edge over others. Now, it is important that you quote experts wherever you think that you have a good knowledge, right? Your day-to-day experience is okay. It's enough to cover that particular topic. You need to quote experts. Google respects that, right? And how do you do that? You actually link to those information. You provide a link to those information. For instance, you are writing about a particular idea, and someone who is an expert in that field has said something about it which you believe is going to benefit your reader. You should be able to say, oh, according to, or a particular statistics in year 2020, the statistics is not yours. You are trying to prove a point, right? Which is very, very important to the particular topic of discourse at hand. You should be able to provide a link or to quote that particular person. Of course, many websites do not like to give credit to whom it is due, and I understand why. Because of backlink, everyone is selfish with that, but Google respect that. Even if you're not going to give them a no follow link, well, those are technical terms, but even if you're not going to give them or accord, it is just fair that you give them a mention. That's just it. So basically, cite whatever expert that you are calling your information from. Now, be practical. Prove your experience, right? Google respects people that, again, Google respects AI chatbots. Now, consider me using Google as a point of contact to AI chatbots and other search engines, please. Now, all of these search engines and AI chatbots, they respect opinions that are very, very practical, right? You don't just want to be generic in whatever you are writing. You want to be very practical. They want to show that first-hand experience. Okay, you are writing about the experience at the University of Ibadan. How do you prove your experience? Were you there? In what year? All of those informations will actually prove to Google that, oh, this guy actually has an experience, right? Or is writing from a perspective that actually shows that he's experienced in this particular subject. Now, you also want to let your biography speak for you. Like I said earlier, that is a fantastic way to build trust with Google and, of course, other search engines and AI trust, right? Your biography should speak for you, right? Let us know, what experience do you have in that particular area, in that particular field, right? You are a writer. What are your interests? What have you spent the last 3 years of your life doing in that particular field? Just tell us that you have a very good or profound knowledge of subject or topics within that particular field, right? In your free time, as someone that writes about inspirational stuff, about motivational stuff, in your free time, do you read books? Do you read books or watch movies around your subjects, your hobbies? All of these things matter in your biography. So you want to let Google know and have confidence in whatever you have put up, because search engine, writing for search engine, SEO is all about trust, it's all about experience, it's about authority, it's about expertise. Now, cover the topic. You don't want to leave anything unsaid, right? You don't want to leave anything uncovered. And that is essentially the essence of keyword research, if you can remember, right? That's essentially the importance of keyword research, because you have identified the gaps already. Then why are you leaving some things unsaid? You have to cover the topic in full, be comprehensive, because that is actually your edge over your competitors. It is a lot of competition online, right? And everybody is trying to find a space, right? For instance, you go on Google, you search for a particular keyword, and you see how many results. You see up to like 100,000 results online. How do you stand out, right? You have to be as comprehensive as possible. Now, again, leverage the content gaps. You have seen your competitors, you have seen what they have written. You are trying to see how to better them, how to attract them, basically. These are your focus. And you're not just writing out of your own head, out of your own knowledge. You are leveraging the content gaps that you have identified. Then you want to have a unique taste to what you are writing. There's a unique presentation, of course. You have studied your competitors. What can you do differently? Basically, it's a question you are asking yourself when it comes to content creation. Again, write in active voice. When you write in active voice, it shows authority. You don't write in passive voice. I want to believe that many of us know what active and passive voice actually mean, right? When you write in active voice, that means your verb is in the is almost in the is always in the present, right? It's always in the present. It's active. Your voice is active. It shows authority, right? For instance, now you want to say, okay, the boy visited the hospital. You don't want to write the hospital was visited by the boy, right? When you write in passive voice, it reduces the effect, right? It reduces the effect of the power of a voice, the power of a voice, right? It reduces your authority. There's no power to it. There's no strength to whatever you are saying. But when you write in active voice, there is an invisible power that comes with it that shows authority. You also want to write in simple sentences. You are writing for algorithms first, right? They are robots. They are not human beings. They don't like complicated sentences or complex sentences, right? So you always want to write in simple sentences. It is very important. Even in essay writing, normal essay writing, your teachers will always advise you to write in simple sentences, because if you try to write in complex sentences or compound complex sentences, you may begin to write or sound ungrammatical at the end of the day, right? So one way to ensure grammaticality, one way to ensure fluid reading experience, one way to ensure authenticity as well, clarity, is through the use of simple sentences. So you want to adjust to using simple sentences, and then you want to ensure correct spelling. Like I said, all of these search engines, all of these AI assistants, they've been trained to identify and find faults in whatever you are writing, not only to find information and whatnot. They are actually also, trained to find faults in whatever you are presenting to people. Now, you want to write engaging articles only, right? Like I said, you are writing a very unique, article, right? And you want to make it as engaging as possible. You provide the images, right? We're in a world where technology has really, really, really advanced, and things and communication has changed from being in the textual form. Yeah, nobody likes to read really again, right? Nobody really likes to read. People want to see information in a different way. For instance, at a glance, right? At a glance, you know what is on your screen. You know what is on your screen already, right? At a glance, you already have a very good impression of what the textual materials or textual component of what is showing on your screen right now is all about. But you want to spend more time on the graphics by the side, right? You want to know, it kind of engages you the more, because actually everything that I've said here is actually summarized in here. So it's a way to engage your audience, and it's also one of the ways to have a unique presentation as well. So what is the summary of what I've said so far here? You have started your keyword research, right? Now I'm trying to analyze the diagram showing on your screen. Now you have started with the keyword research, and then you found the topic to write on. Then you want to ask yourself, is this topic your money or your life topic? If it is one, then you want to ask yourself again, do you have formal expertise or relevant everyday to-day expertise in this area? If you don't, then you ask again, do you know someone who does? If you know someone who does, then you have to allow them create that story instead. Or edit the content. That is because they give a professional taste to whatever is there, and people will trust. Of course, you cannot trust your life with a bricklayer, right? So even if the bricklayer has uh, has has tried to revive maybe one of his fellows that fell from a from a cliff. Let's put it that way. Maybe the bricklayer has experience trying to, help his mates come alive after long hours working in the workshop or at the site. You don't want to trust such a person with your life. So if you know someone who actually has gained experience and expertise of formal qualification in that particular field, it's better you just allow them to create that content instead. Again, you want to ask, if you have the expertise, then you create the content yourself, right? Then you create your content yourself. But if you don't have the expertise, you don't know someone that knows something about it, you don't know someone that is qualified enough to write about that topic, it's better you don't even cover it at all because it is wasted effort. If you try to do that and put it for Google to identify and rank, it is a wasted effort. So you don't even have to bother to write. Now, what is next? Now, the bottom line is this: you focus on creating or delivering value through your content. Well, at the end of the day, it's all about creating value, right? Because it is what we do. You go on a website. Now, you must also understand that I know that there are some websites that do rank on Google and they do not have much detailed information and are of little or no benefit to your curiosity, right? And you feel disappointed and you just leave. Your that means the bounce rate of such websites will be actually very low. And it sends a signal to Google and of course other search engines and AI assistant that, oh, this person is not delivering enough, people are not finding value, their time is not worth it. Therefore, we should rank this particular website, right? So at the end of the day, you should focus on delivering value through your content. And that is only possible when you have done your research well and you have tried to articulate your thoughts in a way that matches the intent of the searcher. Now, you want to understand the structure. How do you structure your writing, right? Now that you have a keyword, now that you know exactly what to write on, you know the information these people need, you you have decided whether or not to write, you have decided or you have concluded that this is the person that will write because the person has expertise or the person has enough day-to-day experience that can help in delivering value to people. How do you structure blog your blog your blog post? You don't just write. Writing for Google is not all about writing in sentence and paragraphs. You don't just write in sentences and paragraphs and you know leave it to Google to do his own work. No, you actually need to optimize your content, right? So it follows a particular structure. Actually, there's a particular structure that it follows, and here is where it becomes a little bit technical, right? It becomes a little bit technical. Of course, the URL is usually, well, you have a little bit of opinion when it comes to URL, and that is mostly determined by the keyword, whatever keyword that you input into your WordPress when you are writing um, your blog post. Hello, am I still connected to my audience? Let me be sure. So I don't know that.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, you can.
So Okay. So how do you optimize whatever content that you are planning to write or that you have written? It's possible that because you don't want to lose your thoughts, you don't want to lose the ideas, you have written everything following the principle of stream of consciousness, right? You have put down everything, you don't want to lose any thought, you don't want to lose an idea. How do you re-strategize? How do you structure it? How do you optimize it basically for this search engines, right? First, you want to ensure that you put the target keyword in relevant places to achieve topical relevance. Because basically, if you're writing on a particular keyword, all these crawlers, all the spiders, they will come to that particular page and search, what are these keywords? Are they in relevant places? You want to put them in very strategic places so that when these particular spiders and crawlers come on your page, they're able to find and locate them. And at a glance, they're able to understand what your whole topic is all about, or your whole writing is all about, right? So you want to ensure that it is in your URL. That is the first thing. You also want to ensure that it is in your main header. Your main header is usually the title, right? Usually the title tag. You also want to ensure that it is in your subheaders. That is your header 2, header 3, and whatnot. You also want to ensure that it's in your intro, right? You want to ensure that what people are looking for is in the introduction. You introduce your story very properly, very important. You also want to ensure that you put them, right? You put them in between the contents, right? And usually the best practice is that you allow for some distance, right? It is punishable in SEO writing for you to use your keywords consistently and without spacing them, right? So it is not a good SEO practice to use your keyword twice in a particular paragraph, right? You want to use them maybe in 2 paragraphs apart, right? So that is one of the best SEO practices that you might want to consider in your next blog post writing. Now, so you also want to ensure that your keyword is in your conclusion, right? You also want to ensure that it's in your conclusion as well. So these are majorly places where you ensure that you put your keywords. For instance, you are writing about tourism in Nigeria, right? Tourism in Nigeria, that is your major keyword. You ensure that it is in your title tag. For instance, maybe you are writing about you have come up with a title like well, let's say you are looking at tourist attraction sites or attraction sites in Nigeria, right? That's your keyword, attraction sites in Nigeria, and your topic is top 5 attraction sites in Nigeria, right? Top 5 attraction sites in Nigeria. Now, your subheading, you want to say one or 2 things again. Maybe in your H2 now. In your H2, you want to write something that is a subheading, right? You want to write something like where to find um attraction sites in Nigeria, and then you want to write popular attraction sites in Nigeria. Just stuff like that. So just ensure that your primary keyword are in very, very strategic places where all these spiders can always locate them. And you want to also use them once in a while inside the main article. Now, it is very important that you must avoid keyword stuffing, right? You don't want to use it anyhow. For instance, an article of about, say, 1,200 or 1,500 words, you may just allow your keyword to appear only 4 times, right? And you have to place them in strategic places. However, it can appear more than 4 times, and that is if and only if you use synonyms and related words. In fact, it is punishable if you begin to use your keyword or you begin to input your keyword word for word in all these sections, right? Google and AI assistants, like I said, they are very smart, right? In fact, smarter than you think or understand. So you must always try to use relevant words or synonyms in place of your original keywords sometimes in your writing. And so also in structure optimization, it's also important that you know meta description, right? I want to believe that you know what meta description is. Does anyone have an idea of what meta description is all about? Hello?
Hello.
Yeah, I was asking if you guys actually know what meta description is.
Is there a difference between meta description and summary and description? Because we have summary and description, then meta tags.
Okay.
Is there like a difference between them? If what you mean by meta description, if it is what we know as summary and description, then
Not
I
not
can say that. Okay.
not necessarily. Not necessarily. Now, if you go on Google, right? If you go on Google and you put a particular keyword on Google and and um, and then you have the search results, right? You would see that when you look at each of the websites that are ranked on Google, you'll find that it's a small piece of the information, right, is there for you to see. That is more like some of the first point of contact that you have with this website, and it helps you actually make a decision whether or not to click to see more information or not, right? So meta description is more like the snippet, right? It's just a tip of what is inside the main article. And it's usually not more than 150 words. It's usually concise and precise, right? It is you trying to expand on the title tag. It is you trying to, attract the user. It is you trying to give an invitation, more like the advertorial side of your article. That is what meta description is all about. It is more that the advertorial aspect of your of your of your article. So now meta description, if you are actually writing on WordPress, if you are writing on WordPress, I don't know what your WordPress interface look like, right? But I believe that you should, if your website is actually, if your website or the blog that you are working for or you guys are writing for is actually optimized for SEO, I believe that there is a section where you are asked to write something related to meta description, right? Especially if you are using a feature like Yoast or Rank Math or whatever SEO um, whatever SEO stuff that you are using. So I believe that there's a section where you are asked to write more like a short description of what the article is all about. So meta description is not necessarily the summary of, although it may appear to be a summary, but this is where more like your copywriting idea is put to test. How do you sell your article basically to the user, right? That is what this particular section is all about. How do you invite me when I see it? Do you want me to click on your particular article and have a view of what the whole thing is all about, right? So you understand that AI selects AI itself. Let's put human beings aside now, because we know already that human beings are smart, they know what they want, and even from a glance, they decide whether or not to. The same thing with AI. It also selects articles it wants to recommend to people based on keyword, the title, the URL, the snippet here now, and the ranking, right? AI will not leave articles that are ranking between the numbers of 1 to 5 and select one that is ranking at maybe number 50 or number 25, right? It will actually prioritize those that are ranking first before it now begins to, consider other ones that are ranking down, 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 other pages. So your meta description basically should be concise, it should be precise, not usually more than 150. 150 words is too much, sorry. It's actually, it should not be more than 150 characters. It should not be more than 150 characters. 150 words is too much. It's not more than 150 characters. And 150 characters, I don't think is more than maybe 15 words or 20 words. So this is the listing. It should not be more than 150 characters. Yeah. So in addition, you want to understand article tags, you want to understand alt text, you want to understand the importance of images as well when it comes to structure or optimizing your content for SEO. Now, article tags, straight up. Article tags is actually also a very good SEO technique that you need to understand. You know that after you have written your article, you are asked to provide tags, right? So you're not just providing tags. You're not just putting what comes to your mind there. Actually, this is where you now begin to maybe you begin to input your secondary keywords and not necessarily your primary keyword, because your primary keyword has already been worked on. Now you want to put your secondary keywords there. Now, it is possible that when people search, right? It is possible that when people search for a particular article, or for a particular information online, Google may not necessarily rank or present the page containing the article to them. It may suggest like 2 or 3 articles under a particular tag to them. For instance, you have written under a particular category called biography, right? And the person you have written about is actually a man of God, right? Now, I believe that while writing that biography, you entered several details, which may also work for several articles, right? For instance, I want to believe that you used a word like man of God, men of God in Nigeria, right? I want to believe that you are going to use such words in that particular article: man of God, men of God in Nigeria, maybe men of faith. Also, you want to mention the church as well. It's most likely that you mention the church, right? So, or Nigerian pastors, right? Popular Nigerian pastors. So it's possible you put all those words inside the article. So you want to look at the key phrases that you have used, and then you include them in your tags. Now, that may also work for another article too, right? That revolves around the life of another popular Nigerian pastor. Now, basically, article tags are more like a subcategory too, right? It more or less works like a subcategory, and it has SEO effect too. It is one of the best practices of SEO. So from now, you should not just write or put just any word, right, inside your article tag space or whatnot. You have to be very, very intentional about what you put there. My time is fast spent. You also need to understand alt text as well. Alt text basically it works for images mostly, and it helps search engines and AI assistants to understand what your image is all about. And that tells you that you must not just put images there without describing what they are doing there, because it also caters for the needs of people that cannot see, right? Say, for instance, a blind man is using a phone, is on your website, and he taps on a particular image. He's not able to see what the image is all about. But from the alt text, right, his phone or whatever Google Assistant or assistant is using can describe that particular stuff to it. So it's also an important ranking factor, aside from the fact that it also delivers value to your reader or your user. It is also an important ranking factor. So your images too, you don't want to use large images. You want to ensure that your images are compressed. They are around maybe 40 kilobytes, 50 kilobytes, 80 kilobytes is okay, but it is not up to 1 megabyte. But anything above 100 kilobytes is, for me, I consider them too much. Although you might want to complain about, the quality, but SEO is also about speed and users' experience. Like you yourself, if you go on a website that is slow, you bounce out, right? So you want people to stay on your website. So you want to deliver a very lightweight website to them. External links, internal linking is also very important. Let's say you are talking about a particular subject, and you are making a point, and that point has been made in a particular or in a previous post. So it is important that you provide a link to that previous post, and that is why you always see something like see also, read also, right? So those are some of the internal linking practices that you will find on most blogs. So you want to invite people to read, but you don't just link anyhow. You want to make sure that you link to posts that or share similar subjects or similar ideas, right? You don't want to break the flow of your reader. You want them to read what is next. You want them to have a view of other things that they are going to enjoy around that particular subject too. Now, external links, that is you providing link to your external sources, the ones that are not in your blog. Let's say you have pulled an information from Wikipedia, you want to link to it. So you have to do that very correctly. And then the anchor text. The anchor text is, what is that particular word that serve as a mask for your link, right? You want to ensure that you are using the anchor text, the text that you use to mask your link is related to, for instance, now, you don't go and mask a link under a word like Christmas, and then when someone clicks on that particular word Christmas, it takes them to a particular post that is talking about Halloween. So you want to ensure that your anchor text is very much related to that particular or original post. Now, the use of bold letters. The use of bold letters is another SEO trick that you need to understand. For instance, in your headers, most importantly, always ensure that they are in bold letters. Schema tricks. That is some of the schema tricks that you may also want to consider is maybe writing in listicles. For instance, if you are trying to highlight maybe the advantages, the pros and the cons of a particular idea or keyword in that particular article, you want to list them, you want to present them in form of a list, right? To be a form of summary that Google can always present to people. You can also try the FAQ style. You see that in some blogs, after the whole article has been written, you see the FAQ section there too. You try to answer questions, to provide short answers to the questions that people are looking for. Most importantly, because this deals with AI assistance, you want to optimize for zero-click search, right? So now you want to prioritize the use of declarative and simple sentences again, like I said the other time, bullets, precise and concise. Because you know what? When you prompt AI and it goes online to fetch that information for you, right? it wants to present you an answer in the shortest time possible, right? So it is looking for that answers this question very correctly, right? In a very authoritative manner, yet in a simple and concise or precise manner, right? AI doesn't have enough time to read everything, right? So it is looking at that particular, that is straightforward, right? You don't want to bore your readers, even if a particular reader goes on your website and not through AI, you don't want to bore them, right? You don't want to keep hiding the really info in one very large paragraph. You want to be very, very precise and concise. So you have to optimize your contact, your article for such purpose as well. I think that's all about the basics of SEO writing, and I think I should just cover the second topic very quickly: crafting compelling headlines. Of course, like what you have in front of you. What makes a fine dish is not necessarily the fact that it is prepared differently, but also that it is served in the most artistic and appetizing way. So what that means is that, you know, every fine dish that you find, why do people call it fine dish? It's trying to make what is familiar unfamiliar now, right? It is trying to make it more appetizing, more interesting. Rice becomes a fine dish when it is presented in a more unique and artistic way, right? So what you have in front of you is a fine dish, and you want to look at the presentation. It captures your attention, even if you don't know what it tastes like. You just want to, you want to satisfy your curiosity, right? So that is what a compelling article, a compelling headline does to your reader. When they see it, they want to click on it almost immediately because they have their interest has been arrested, right? And you want to sustain it through your blog post. So crafting a compelling headline is very, very important. And I want to say again or emphasize again that the title tag is an important compositional element of your blog post. Without the title, you can't even rank on Google in the first place. So your article must have a title, right? And to also buttress what I said earlier, your article shapes the viewer's first impression of your article. So if they don't find your topic interesting, they will not even click on your blog post. So besides, it is a key ranking factor you don't want to joke with, right? Like we mentioned earlier. So here are some tips for a compelling headline. It's usually no more than 70 characters. Not more than 70 characters is actually recommended. Don't go above 70 characters. The belief is that your reader should be able to see the length and breadth of your article on their screen. For instance, you go on Google and you see that some persons have written, what do you call it? Some persons have written a title for their post and you can't even see the end. So you see dot, 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 dot. You are not interested because you don't have a full picture of what the article is all about at a glance. So you want to ensure that you don't make that mistake. So you stick to 70 characters or less. Now, it must match the searcher's intent. You want to ensure that your title actually is in line with what people are looking for, right? Since you have already understood what the searchers are looking for, you already know their intent, then you must ensure that your title matches what they are looking for. Basically, ensure that you include your keyword, because what is your article? What is your article? What is your title without the keyword? So again, you want to include extra details like year to show the freshness of information. Like I said, blog posts writing thrives on the newness or the freshness of information. So you want to include like a year, right, to show the freshness of information. And I will have more on that later on. And then you also want to leverage the curiosity or content gap to stand out in your title. Now, Ahrefs has provided us with a formula, right? an ABC formula. And what is the formula all about? Adjective first, and then benefit, and then confidence booster, right? And what is the main keyword here? 10 SEO tips, right? That is the main keyword, as you can see. 10 SEO tips is the main keyword that people or that the article is all about. But what are the other information that makes this particular article stand out? The adjective, easy, of a truth. Not all SEO tips are very easy, right? So, but here are the easy ones that anyone can actually, practice and still have results. So now they have put that adjective there. 10 easy SEO tips, someone that is looking for tips already is is suggesting to you that, oh, I don't like technicalities. What I need are the simple ones, or I don't have the technical knowledge of this, or I want a very fast and straightforward explanation. So easy here does justice to that. And then you're also looking at benefits. What are you going to benefit when you read this article? You show that in your title as well. It says for more traffic. And what boosts the confidence of the user? That is, well, if I actually click on this particular article, will it will it actually satisfy my curiosity? You want to boost their confidence. You want to earn their trust. So you see something like this inside bracket, tried and trusted. So you have the belief when you see this particular title that, oh, that what you want to experience, what you're about to experience in that particular blog post is a very, very solid one, coming from experience, right? Coming from someone that has actually tried, right, this and then, and has seen result. So it boosts your confidence, and you want to know more about that particular keyword through the blog post. And yeah, one thing that is very important that you should know is that Google rewrites title tags 61.6% of the time. And what are my sources? AHR, AHRF, several chart. Some of the sources that provided me with this information, that, and it's something that I've also experienced, right? You might have experienced it as well, that sometimes you put stuff on Google and you see that Google has already written, although it will not reflect in your original blog post, but Google will do that for you because it feels your blog post will look more appetizing if it is presented that way. So it rewrites the title tags for you. Now, you must also understand that when Google writes title tags, it affects basically blog posts with tags that are either too long or too short, right? So you want to maintain that 70 character or something around 50 to 70 characters. So plus, it is an important ranking factor you don't want to joke with, hence you want to be as intentional as possible. So I think that's pretty much all I have for you today about the basics of SEO for a writer. And I want to believe that through this session, you have gained one or two things. I would like to take your questions now. So please be as short as precise as possible, so that we don't waste our time.
Thank you very much, Mr. Israel, for the very profound workshop. And I really apologize for this number of interns that I hear. A lot of interns are having network issues. That's why they're finding it difficult to remain on the meet right now. So, guys, please ask your questions now and be as precise as possible. We are already past the time for the ending of the meeting. Or, yeah, if I should put it like that. Can you guys hear me? Precious. Rose, are you here? Abisola, please continue with your question.
Okay, good evening. Thank you so much, Israel.
Yeah,
Thank
good
you so
evening.
much for that in-depth section on the basis of SEO. Okay, so my question earlier, when you started with us, you made mention of keywords, like we getting a keyword, probably like when we are writing, we should consider our audience, like what are exactly are they looking out for in the topics that we want to write about. And when you were giving the example of the needs, and we should look for when we want to write about the needs, we look for. Okay, let me just move straight to my point. Is that he said we can when we want to get look for our keywords, we should go to Google to make our research. I wanted to ask that because we can just go to Google and make research. Okay, or basically, I should just ask that. Okay, I'm a novice. Okay, I don't know anything about it. What exactly am I supposed to type? Okay, am I going to say that? Okay, what are people looking for in this particular topic that I want to write about? And that's number one. Number two, I want to believe that there are a lot of things that might actually pop up. Probably even if I'm not going to search on Google alone, and maybe I want to make search on other pages. There are a lot of things that can actually come up. How will I load the exact thing that I'm supposed to write about that? Okay, this is actually the common things that people are actually looking for in this topic that I want to write about. I don't know if you get my question, sir.
All right, I can understand it. Now, I want to use an example because I've run some blogs in the past, and I I also work exactly in the niche that your blog or your website focuses on at the moment. Um, for instance, I want to cover a particular news, right? Say there is a particular news that is trending these days. Um, say something about I don't know if you cover secular news or you are focused on religious news. But let's say it's a secular news anyway, and you want to write on the road accident that Pella just had. Now, many blogs will be writing on will be trying to tell you that blah 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 blah. He was on a live stream and then he crashed his car and blah 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 blah. But definitely, people want to know more about that particular story. And that for you should be a concern, right? Because you are looking for ways to attract these people. And then you look at that particular situation from another approach. Here is what I like to do. Now, I like to look at other information because now, let's say people are looking for, you see a particular word that is ranking, Pella accident, Pella crashed his car. Put that exact keyword, right, on Google or any of the um, any of the keyword research and resources that I provided, because I mentioned other other tools that you can actually use for your keyword research. And I think I said that you can use Google Trends. Google Trends is actually not exactly Google, but it is also Google. So Google, if you go to googletrends.com, you can always see a space where you are asked to put your keywords or your keyword ideas there. So, and it helps you to generate or to actually let you know what people are actually looking for. In fact, keyword Google Trends will show you what people are looking for at a particular time of the day. It tells you when people search for that particular keyword more. Do they search for it in the morning? Do they search for it? Do they search for it in the morning, in the night, or in the afternoon? It helps you with some analysis that you can actually see. And then it also provides you with a list of websites that are already ranking for that particular article. Do you understand? So when it provides you with that list, you take the pain and then you look at each of the websites, you see what they have written, and then you kind of try to do the analysis, right? What is missing?